share with you my 11 years and counting in this crazy place I call Cancerland, and some of the lessons I have learned while here. I like to compare Cancerland to Alice in Wonderland. We were both thrown into this crazy world where what we had known for years no longer made sense. The Cheshire Cat said it best. I am not crazy. My reality is just different from yours. My adventures in Cancerland started September 2008. Was 30 years old, had a husband, and 13-month-old son, when my breast surgeon said 3 little words that would change my life forever. It is cancer. Back up 10 days to where me and my friends at work were talking about breast cancer and how we were hearing of young people our age, being diagnosed. We all agreed that day we would start doing self-exams. The next morning, I did my first ever self-exam, and I will never forget that sinking feeling in my heart when I felt a lump in my right breast. The lump felt like a firm grape. From the moment I found the lump to being told it was cancer was about 10 days. During those 10 days, I had a ton of tests, and most importantly, I found my rock star doctor, Dr. H. From the biopsy, the facts being presented to me were I had triple negative, stage 1, grade 3 breast cancer. Triple negative meant the cancer was not caused by hormones or HER2. Stage 1 meant it was small, about the size of a peanut, and it was contained to this one spot. Grade 3 meant it was extremely aggressive. My treatment plan was 8 rounds of chemo, lumpectomy, 36 rounds of radiation. I made it through the 9 months just as planned, just as the facts had been presented to me. But there was a problem with my list of facts. I conveniently chose what facts I wanted to and didn't want to pay attention to. I was able to ignore the fact about 30% of lower stage breast cancer comes back as stage 4. I was able to ignore this fact for exactly 18 months, till one day Dr. H's office called to schedule my follow-up scans. A bone scan, chest CT, I'd had breast cancer. What does that have to do with my bones? Well, I quickly learned what those scans had to do with breast cancer when I received a call from H's nurse telling me to come in that day at 3:30, and to bring my husband. That is another day I will never forget. The day I was thrown into the deep, dark, hidden section of Cancerland no one likes to talk about, the stage 4 metastatic section. Meta what? Metastatic. When the breast cancer breaks off from the original tumor and moves to other parts of the body, usually the bones, liver, lungs, and or brain. Took me a hot second to understand what I was being told. The breast cancer had taken up residence in my lungs and bones. This was not lung cancer, this was breast cancer in my lungs. The cancer was now considered incurable, and I would be in some kind of treatment forever. I love this quote from Alice in Wonderland. Alice asked, "How long is forever?" "Sometimes, just 1 second," said the white rabbit. Our lives changed forever in that 1 second. Funny story about that day. When H started telling us the details of what metastatic really meant, I looked at her and Eric and said, I don't care what it really means. They were welcome to talk any of the details they wanted, but I wasn't interested in listening because I didn't care what they thought. Then I walked out of the room. Oh yes, I am lucky they love me. It was only 2 years ago when I finally asked Eric what they said that day. Pretty much it looked really bad, like 2 years bad. I'm glad I didn't ask. But it was here in this hidden section of Cancerland I did something I didn't do my first time. I made really, really good friends with other young women who were also metastatic. Young women just like me. Had children, careers, pretty much everything you picture your life to be around 33 years old. That was us. Except on top of juggling life, we had to learn to juggle fire, too. Let's just say, there is no school to learn the stuff we needed to know, so we figured it out together. Per my normal, my adventures in Cancerland started out with a bang when my first line of treatment failed in 2 short months, meaning the cancer was growing, not shrinking. I was quickly moved onto a new chemo combo plus a trial in a PARP. PARP is a less toxic chemo. To everyone's complete surprise, I was NED on my 6-week scan. NED, no evidence of disease. To say we were all floored is a huge understatement, but I was quickly brought back to my new reality when H told me I still had to be on chemo. You see, I had heard the words treatment forever, but I didn't totally understand until that moment. I stayed on that chemo trio for about 7 months until my blood counts just kept bottoming out and not rebounding without the help of blood transfusions. Dr. H talked to the trial, got the green light to drop the chemos and let me be on just the PARP. That was greatness for about 9 months. September 2012. I had a seizure that was caused by a cluster of brain mets. Mets means breast cancer tumors. That's when the fact about breast cancer moving to the brain hit me like a truck. Over the span of 9 months, I had 3 brain surgeries to remove that stubborn cluster of mets. Luckily, third time was the charm, even though the third surgery left me without feeling in my right foot and made walking a challenge. All the while I was dealing with my brain and walking issues, my friends were dealing with their own issues, progression. And then it happened. One of my group of 6 friends gained her angel wings at the ripe young age of 30. It was at her funeral I decided to start keeping a list of life lessons. Lessons I had learned from my friends. Lessons I had learned from mourning. Lessons I had learned about life from death. Lesson 1, right now is all we have. You cannot change the past. You cannot worry your way out of the future. All you can do is be in the here and now. Breathe that in and be thankful for the right here and now. After Amber, we lost Holly in what seemed like a blink of an eye. Holly used this quote all the time. Your life is made up of 2 dates and a dash. Make the most of that dash. Oh, she made the most of her dash in great ways, and I try to remember to do the same every single day. Things in Cancerland settled down a little. Us girls would try to get together as much as possible, but between family, chemo, time down after chemo, making ongoing plans was hard. Then, not exactly sure how fast it happened, but Kelly gained her angel wings, and our group of 6 was left with 3. Kelly was a tiny little thing who was a force to be reckoned with. Another quote from Alice in Wonderland. If you know time as well as I do, said the Hatter, you would stop wasting it. We did this. The 3 of us made daily efforts to fully recognize how precious time is. We did this by telling each other how much we loved each other and how each of us made the world a better place. The 3 of us stood strong, but Cancerland was proving to be a beast. 2016, I was diagnosed with a secondary cancer of leukemia, which was caused from the treatment when I was stage 1. Fun fact, 0.05% of breast cancer patients will develop leukemia from chemo. I remember when H was telling us about this new development and said how in some crazy way this could be the answer to all my problems, being as I had been NED in my body and head for about 5 years, that in theory, if I got a bone marrow transplant, the new bone marrow would recognize and attack if the breast cancer ever woke back up. So I said, sounds good to me, sign me up, and I left her office with hope. It took H a few tries to find a doctor who was willing to take on my case because on paper I looked like a flaming hot mess. But enter my Prince Charming, Dr. Berryman. He said yes to taking on my crazy case. That was July 2016. By September, Be the Match had found 4 perfect matches for me. This means 4 people's bone marrow matched mine in 10 out of 10 categories. Talk about my girls above watching out for me. Once again, I felt like Alice when she says, this is my dream. I will decide where I go from here. I had decided to visualize my body welcoming the new blood with joy and excitement and no fighting. While I was living in Dallas post-transplant, another one of my girls gained her angel wings. Our group of 6 was now 2, Christy and myself. Recovering from my bone marrow transplant proved to be the most difficult thing I have ever done, but day by day, I somehow recovered. And once again, Cancerland threw another cheap shot at Christy, and it was down to one, me. Not a day goes by I don't thank God and also wonder, why me? I may not ever know why me, but I do know this. You absolutely don't have to wait to hear the words incurable cancer to wake up and live your life. With that, I want to share a list of things I learned with and from my girls in Cancerland. Number 1, right now is all we have. Number 2, forgive. I totally get it. Holding on to a grudge somehow feels powerful, but y'all, holding on to a grudge is like you drinking poison and expecting your enemy to die. It doesn't work like that. Number 3, be nice to yourselves. No more, look at my wrinkles. Oh, I look so old. Oh, I can't do that. Stop it. Marvel at yourselves and your body and what it does for you all day, every day. Number 4, you can absolutely move a mountain one pebble at a time. I learned this when I had to learn to walk again. I started shuffling around my living room with a walker, moved onto a cane, then to physical therapy, and now I'm pretty mobile. Number 5, comparison is the thief of joy. Have you ever been bopping along in life, feeling great about everything you have going on, only to look at what someone else is doing, and then bang, you are no longer happy because you let comparison steal your joy? Don't do this. Number 6, when you mess up, say you're sorry. When you stick your foot in your mouth, say you're sorry. When you hurt someone, say you're sorry. Number 7, don't assume you know what someone is thinking. Don't assume you know how someone feels. Don't assume you know what someone's going to say next. Just don't assume things. If you don't know, simply ask. Number 8, this is a big one, so pay attention. You are 100% in control of your outlook on life. Notice I didn't say you were in control of what happens, I said in control of your outlook. Here's a quote from Aristotle that I love. The energy of the mind is the essence of life. It is true. You will see more of whatever it is you focus on. Number 9, there is no prize at the end for how much you worked, how busy you always were, how much you were able to juggle. Y'all, so many of the things we spend our precious time on don't matter. Who's going to look back on life and say, I wish I would have worked more. I wish I would have spread myself thinner. My guess is no one. Number 10, you are 100% more capable of doing hard things than you give yourself credit for. One thing I have figured out in Cancerland is that each and every one of us have this secret backup reserve of grit that we can tap into any time we need. With that, here are 2 more quotes from Alice in Wonderland. Everything has a moral, if only you can find it. You know what the problem is with the world? Everyone wants a magical solution to their problems, yet everyone refuses to believe in magic. So, with that, I want to thank you for being here today, and I hope you take away something that inspires you to still believe in magic. Thank you.